Hi everybody, and welcome to day 3 of the Visibility to Profitability mini series. So today I want to talk to you about fear, because fear is one of the biggest things that's going to hold you back and stop you from earning money in your business. So, sorry, took a break for a moment, hopefully you've still got me. So now, fear really can stop us. Fact, 100%. It can be one of the biggest things that stops us from making a difference in our businesses and helping people and actually earning some money from what we love to do. So there are loads and loads of different ways that you can be visible. And obviously I've talked about different ways in the groups. I've talked about networking, online, offline groups. You can do different types. You could do Facebook, blabs, webinars, 1,000,001 different ways in which you can be visible. And there'll be different ways in which you can do that in different places. So, you know, you might have a large group, for example, or a small group, and you'll be reacting and engaging in different ways than you would from the opposite, if that makes sense. You know, you might do something different on your personal page to your business page, but as Lynn was sharing in her story yesterday, if you can bring some of your story into it and some of your vulnerability, then people are going to know, like, and trust you a lot quicker, and it's going to be really helpful for you in your business. But I don't want to just talk to you about that, because obviously there's a lot of fear when we start talking about showing up and sharing stories and all of that kind of stuff. It can push a lot of buttons. And also it can stop you from pushing that button to promote something that you're offering or something that you want to talk about, because you think, well, what if? What if people think I'm not good enough? What if people are going to judge me? What if I put it out there and nobody signs up? What if, what if, what if? And all of these what's if come up. When you're running your own business, though, you need to stand up and be known as the business expert. If you don't shout out about your business, nobody else is going to do it for you. Unless, of course, you're in the position where you've got a whole team of people, like a normal company would have, around a marketing expert and an accounts department and all of the different departments doing it. You're going to be doing it, or with support perhaps from VAs and that kind of thing, like I do, or, you know, or online business manager, the next level up as well. Okay. But what happens is we have this fear of failure, we have this fear of rejection, and then we have all of this self-talk going on. So will it really matter? I guess that's the first thing. If you put a post out there and you've put it out there and it's like, oh my goodness, the whole world has started engaging, I'm really scared. Will it actually matter in a week, a month, a year, what you put out? Now, if you're putting something scandalous out there, then maybe it will, you know. The internet can hold on to a lot of history. But in the scheme of things, I mean, realistically, will it really matter if you put a typo out there, or if you said something that didn't land particularly well? It may have been your opinion, and that's okay. So just go and engage a bit more on that conversation. And what I would say is, if you did put something out there and you get some sarcastic comments, or you've said something controversial, then good. You know, go and answer on that. You will, you know, when you get successful, you will start to have people who disagree with what you say, and you'll get the trolls as well. Good. Mark that down as fantastic. I'm up leveling, baby. I'm doing really well. So I want you to think about your comparing, because who are you comparing yourself against to? Sorry, get my grammar right. Who are you comparing yourself against? If you're comparing yourself against somebody who's been in business for 10 years, then it's not necessarily the same comparison if you just started out. You may have been in your business 3 or 4 years. You're not necessarily going to be at the same level they're at. Your experiences will be different. Your business journey will have been different. There'll be lots of different things that you've learned along the way, or may still need to learn along the way. But how do you know there aren't people out there comparing their success against you and noticing all the things that you're doing? So this isn't about comparing, because comparing can really, really hold you back. You know, there's lots of people doing what I do on a much bigger scale than I am, and I could sit and go, oh, I can't put anything out there because so-and-so is doing it. But you can't do that. This is about your business and running it your way. You wouldn't have the local, let's say local, I'm just trying to think of little local shops we've got around here, little tiny shops like Budgeons, for example, little baby Budgeons, or those little Metro stores and that kind of thing. They're not going to be, Metro's probably not a good example because that is part of a chain, but I'm talking about the small shops. They're not going to be comparing themselves against the massive supermarkets. If they are, then there's no point. You know, they're going to compare themselves against the big four, for instance. You know, they're not comparing like for like. Hi Emma, great to have you on. So you really need to think about, are you actually comparing realistically? And I call it comparing bananas to socks. Because if you're comparing bananas to socks, as in things that are two completely different things, you are just going to wind yourself up into a frenzy, and it's so not worth it. So stop it if you're doing that. And I know I've been there. So what I want to say to you is, if you don't put your business out there, if you don't shout out about your business, firstly, how's that working out for you? Because I know when I haven't shouted out about my business, nothing happens. I don't get as many clients. I might get the odd one or two, but I don't get that steady stream. It's always a feast and famine type thing, because I'll show up and then disappear. And I know that since being much more consistent with my visibility, everything's been a lot easier. I'm not saying it isn't scary. It is scary. And sometimes you think, oh, well, what if my competitors are looking? Again, goes back to that comparison thing. Or what if it isn't the right thing? Or what if I've said the wrong thing? Or do I need to edit it 20 times before it goes out? I get all of that. I totally understand all of that. But you need to be shouting out about your business. What will happen to your business if you don't take the risk? Because you could end up like a lot of those entrepreneurs and solopreneurs out there that aren't moving forward in their business, or worse, they give up because they think that nothing's happening. They think their business isn't growing, and all it would have taken was a little bit more consistency, a bit more visibility, and a bit more telling people about what you do and promoting you that would make all the difference. A few minutes of pushing through those comfort zones. You don't have to live on the edge, as in all day be thinking, oh, I've got to do the next firefighting, scary, terrifying thing. It doesn't have to be like doing a bungee jump or something. You know, it needs to be just small, simple steps. So it might be, right, okay, so today I'm going to put out a new blog post. That feels really super scary to me. And then the next step on from that is I'm going to share it in a couple of groups, and I'm going to gauge what people say. And it's okay. It's okay for me to do that. It's safe for me to do that. So I want you to then think about the worst case scenario. So you put something out there and really explore what's the worst case scenario. So let's say you put a really awful post out there, and you think, oh, what have I done? You could delete it. Yes, it may be still in a few people's places, but they'll come to find it and then they won't be able to find it anyway. So you could do that in theory. I'm thinking Facebook type post, that kind of thing. If a blog post went out, you could go back in and edit it if it really didn't land very well. So that's something you could do. But let's say the worst case scenario, by you not being visible in your, you're not doing putting that blog post out properly, that then means that you don't get a paying client. And then when you don't get a paying client, that means you don't get few paying clients, and then you don't manage to pay the bills, and then you don't, etc, etc, etc. And if you work it to its absolute hilarious end, it could be that you end up in hospital when you die. You know, you're on the streets because you've been kicked out of your house and you've ended up with a terrible disease, and then you die. Really? Just because you put a tweet out in the wrong place at the wrong time or something like that? Keep it in perspective. So it isn't the worst thing in the world if you send something out. Mistakes are okay. So I want you to prepare. If you prepare, you're going to be much more able and much more ready to put things out there, because you will have all of that preparation in place. Just checking my times here because I can chat for England, as you can probably tell. So prepare, take a deep breath in and be brave. So whether it's submit, publish on a post, or whether it's go and connect with somebody that said they want to work with you and you need to take it to that next stage by following up with them, then do that. And if you need to, as I said before in the past, go and get an accountability partner and tell them, I'm going to go and do this, and then make sure they hold you accountable so that you do go out there and do it. Because the trouble with all of this is, if you don't go out there and be visible, you could cost yourself money, you could cost yourself obviously clients, and that could ultimately cost you the passion as well in your business. You may lose all of that passion that you had in the early days when you first started out. So really think about how you can make it different. So I'm going to super speedily share 7 tips for you for dealing with self-doubt, and I'm going to whiz through them. So 1, surround yourself with the right people. By being around people who are positive and gently challenging and motivating, you're going to be much more likely to take action. 2, catch your negative self-talk. So really reframe it. You know, instead of saying, oh, I'm not doing very well on this techie thing, I can't understand my WordPress plugins, just say I'm learning something new every day and there's people out there that can support me. Reframe. Reframe your self-doubt as well. Instead of looking at, how it's not working, think, what's another way of looking at this? How could I get a different perspective on this thing that's really bothering me? and check in with what's really going on. Is it imposter syndrome? Is it fear of failure, fear of rejection? Because once you can label what that fear is that you're struggling with, you'll find it a lot easier to deal with. I know imposter syndrome personally, I had it in HR, and it's crippling. It really can just ruin your life, never mind your day. It's absolutely crippling. So do something about it, because once you understand what it is, you can start to unpick and unravel and then deal with it accordingly. Stop asking for validation. You don't need the world and its dog to tell you you're amazing at what you do. Just keep showing up, keep showing up. Yes, your testimonials are going to help you. Yes, some of even the hidden case studies, the people that you've worked with that don't shout out about what you do, you know that you're making a difference. You don't need to keep seeking that external validation, and just forget what others think. What do you think? It's about thinking about what's important to you. What do you think about it? So become the expert is the next one. The more you can get more comfortable with what you do and understand, the much easier you're going to find it going out there, because you'll feel ready, you'll feel prepared. And expect rejection. Not everyone's going to love you. It's a bit like Marmite, as I always say. Some will love you, some will hate you, and that's okay. You have got your people. Stay with them. Be surrounded by them and spend time with them. Stop worrying about everybody else. I'm sorry I have gone over. I'm just going to quickly wrap up the 3 days with you. So in day one, we talked about, if you haven't had a chance to watch them, go and watch them. But in day one, we talked about using visibility to get more clients. And it's really about connection. So connecting with the right people, with the right message. You know, connecting with people, letting people connect with you personally through your story and your messages. Being in the right places, so not wasting time being on the wrong platforms and in the wrong networking meetings and all of those kind of things. Being brave, putting calls to action out there, so telling people to take that next step so they can connect with you. And final one, I'm just looking here, constantly relationship building. It's always about relationship building, and fantastic follow-up's going to really serve you well there. Day 2, we had the case study where we shared Lynn and how she's earned $3,000 in 6 weeks. So fantastic insights in there. And there is a PDF that you can put yourself down for if that's something of interest to you, where we're going to share. We haven't done it yet, so we're just saying we'll put it out there. We're going to make one, but we'll have it within the next week or so. And that's sharing the exact steps that she's taken in terms of being more visible over a 6-week period, all while holding down a 4-day full day job. And then today we've obviously talked about kicking that fear to the curb. So I really hope you've enjoyed the mini training series. I've really enjoyed doing it with you. You know, if you're struggling with getting profitable in your business around being visible, then come and talk to me. I'd love to have a chat with you about it, and we can work together on really making that happen. Just one final thing, I've obviously got my boot camp, finishes at 6 p.m. today. I will post a little time thing in the group soon, but if you are thinking of doing my boot camp, it's $997 normally, and it's only $250, but that offer will go at 6 p.m. today, and it will not be happening again. I just really wanted to help as many people as possible, and it's one of those things. I was asked today if you can actually join it and then, you know, not have to do the material straight away, so you can grab the offer now and then do it whenever you want to, and absolutely you can. It's a self-study program, but you've also got access to the group and access to me if you've got questions as you go through it. So I hope you've enjoyed the mini series. I've really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to be putting together more mini trainings. I think Facebook Live is fabulous for this. So enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao for now.